Hello, Cherie Hanson here. What I felt would be good to talk about today is how the ego works. I have done a lot of reading and studying and ceremonies, exploration of the caverns. And what is so interesting about the ego is that it's like you had this massive bodyguard show up. The troll bodyguard. Our ego shows up, our subconscious mind shows up to protect us, to keep us from harm, to keep us out of harm's way. Out of harm's way, that is the assignment. But the problem is that our ego is now set. It's kind of like you got a home security system with cameras and you had the alarms set and there can't be any movement. There can't be any incursion. There can't be just going out the door happening. And I think the thing that makes life a lot easier is when you can discern when your ego is showing up. You can tell your ego is showing up because it will always try to stop you from doing something new. You know, I want to step out the door. I want to try this. I want to try that. And the ego is like, no. Let me go in first and check the room. Make sure nobody's armed. Nobody can hurt you. No decision you make could lead you back to the battlefield of your childhood where you actually got the wound. So the thing that's interesting is the ego is constantly fighting a battle that you already lost. You lost it under the age of 8. It is trying to prevent you from having the same kind of hurt or damage or neglect or abuse or abandonment happen again that happened when you were a helpless child. And what's so interesting about the ego is it gets more insistent and more crazy if you're growing. Now, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks is a great book to read about this. You can download it for free in a PDF. You can tell when you're growing. How can you tell? What's the indicator? The indicator is your ego gets hyper vigilant. It will try to stop you. It will try to pull you back. It will start talking nonsense to you. It'll say things like, nobody can love you. Don't try and do that because it'll just end badly. It's just nattering on when you're stepping into a transition space, the transition from where you are now to greater growth and confidence. And the kind of cosmic humor about this is once you step into that transition place, you move, you're on an upgrade. Your brainwave activity is higher. You're more confident. You're more expansive. You're more capable of peace, satisfaction, joy, self-expression, creativity. And if you can punch your way through the stockade that the ego is setting up, what you will find is that there's greater ease. you're not as loud in your criticism of yourself, but you have to get through that transition first. And so what happens is most of us make those timid little steps towards growth until the bodyguard says to you, no, get behind me. Don't try that. Don't go out there without your Kevlar vest. I've got protection back here. My job is to keep you from growing, and that will protect you. And isn't that ironic? Because when we were damaged and wounded and shattered was when we weren't grown. It's when we were children. And so growing is the only way to punch through the barrier. Try it. But you have to be able to take the nattering of your ego, the things that will tell you. Now, I know for sure from my coaching so many people, when is the ego the most loud? The ego finds its way into your life. If you're feeling a little sick, if you're tired, if you're taking on some kind of challenge that you don't trust yourself, if relationships around you aren't working, the ego is just back there like the big troll going, okay, now I can get in there and just scare the poop out of this person. So when you are awake at night, or when you are feeling ill or unsteady in your body, your ego gets really loud. It's an opening for it. It's a time it can really make an impression on you. And keep in mind, it's doing it to keep you from hurting yourself. Now, something that Eckhart Tolle said once made a lot of things very clear to me on my path. He said, if you have a negative thought, remember, it's a lie. And all of the figuring out, it looked like a physics, 3 blackboards with figures and equations and symbols. And I was really working myself through a lot of stuff to try and find how I deal with my ego voice. And he said it in one sentence. If it's negative, don't believe it. So to give you an example, when I was sick last week, 2 nights with insomnia, fever, headache, sick to my stomach, I could hear my ego voice back there going, oh, your life is worthless. You haven't done anything. You came on the earth to do something and you've done nothing. And the thing that helped me a lot was I realized, are you blind, deaf, and dumb, ego? Have you not seen all the things I have done that are remarkable, that are courageous, that show resilience, being able to go through things and get back up on my feet and help people? And so paying attention to what your ego is saying, why? You do that so that you can dismiss it. Because if you're not paying attention, it will become like a simultaneous translation. There'll be the tape, the script, the story being interpreted by your ego. Oh, God. You could be perfect and your ego would be trying to pull you back into the bunker and slam the door on you. So this is a way to grow, to help yourself step out of the trap you're in, is to pay attention to when your ego is getting hyperactive. And instead of laying down sobbing because you're horrible, we can say to ourselves, congratulations, you're growing. You've got your ego terrified. And really recognize that. So if it's a positive thought, it's a truth. If it's a negative thought, it's a bold-faced lie about you, your personality, your gifts, your assignment on the earth, your passions. And we need to step in and recognize when the ego is controlling us, when the troll is back here going, ah! So this is something that journaling really helps with. I'm having a bad time right now. These are the thoughts that are coming up in my head. What triggered it? What is it showing me? And what it almost invariably shows you is that you've gotten off balance in your body, in your spirit. And it's a signal to get back into balance. Because when you're in balance, you're at peace, no matter what's going on. So I wanted to share that with you today. Get a hold of me if you would like a life coaching based on channel reading and reading cards and connecting with your guides. I really enjoy what I do when I'm coaching people. And I want to say to you, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for making lovely comments, for the thumbs up. I appreciate you.